Yo, it's Cobb the drummer. Today we are doing top 10 movies about a drummer. Yeah!
I'm Cobb the drummer!
Number 10, Drumline, featuring Nick Cannon, probably his claim to fame. The best part about this movie is the final scene. Every time I turn on the television, for some reason, it happens to be on that drum battle, which is pretty cool. Accurate as far as like music synchronization with the video, the plot, music student trying to learn how to read music even though he should know how to read music, and he's at a college university level drum line. Number 9, Rockers. Leroy Horsemouth Wallace is the star of this movie. He's a reggae drummer, and the plot is he has this motorcycle and he decides to ride it around to all his gigs. He's like, wow, I am a drummer with a motorcycle, great. And then his motorcycle gets stolen and he has to figure out how to get it back while still playing gigs and still being one of Jamaica's top reggae drummers. But I really like the movie. As far as like believability, it's 100% because he actually is playing the drums in a lot of those sequences. Yeah. Leroy Horsemouth Wallace. Number 8, The Rocker. Not Rockers, but The Rocker, featuring Rainn Wilson. Basically a former 80s hair metal drummer becomes a regular employee at a regular job and decides that he's going to drum in his nephew's band for the prom, and then all of a sudden they become an overnight success. It actually looks like he's playing the drums, which he probably is. He's probably playing those parts, but obviously with editing and with the studio tracks in the background, like, he looks like he's the real deal. I don't think there's a single moment where like he hits the wrong drum and the wrong sound comes off or whatever. Number 7, The Drummer, featuring JC Chan, is about a Japanese drummer in a rock band, and he falls in love with a daughter of a Yakuza member. They hunt him down. They basically say they're gonna kill him. Instead of being executed, he is able to escape to some island where he learns that there are taiko drummers in a secret society playing taiko drums, and he wants to be a part of their culture, his life that he believed in. He abandons all that for the truth in himself and becomes a part of this culture. And that ties in with his dad being part of the Yakuza and then finding out that he's not actually dead. And I don't want to spoil the end for you, but that's actually a really good movie. You just have to sit through the subtitles, but Jackie Chan's son is in it. He's the main character, and it's a really neat movie. I really like it. Number 6, Hop. What I liked about this movie, well, it's an Easter movie, which I don't really care that much about the holiday Easter, but this is one of the few Easter movies that there are. Hop is basically about the heir to the Easter Bunny position who decides to abandon that because he wants to become a drummer. So yeah, it's kind of neat. Like, forget what people are trying to tell you you should be. Go out and be what you want to be. And in this case, he wants to be a drummer. Follow your dreams, I guess. Right? Simple. Aren't all of these movies about following your dreams, though? Alright, number 5, Whiplash. As a movie, it's great. As someone who is a drummer who was like, oh yeah, the audio doesn't line up with his actual drumming, and that's a whole can of worms that I'm willing to get into. I have my opinions on the movie for sure, but it resonated with me because when I went to school and studied music, I had teachers who were very passionate about pushing their students forward, and so those moments I related to. Yeah, in the movie it was a little bit extreme, probably more extreme than what most people have actually experienced, but in order to really evoke those emotions inside of you, sometimes the visual aspect of that has to be extreme. So that's why I felt like I could relate to it. Yeah, it wasn't like exactly how my music experience was. But overall, I thought it was a really well put together movie. Was it like the best movie ever? No. But as a drummer, I can appreciate what it represented and what the director was going for. Number 4, The Little Drummer Boy. Now, this is a great story. Religion aside, Christmas aside, all of that aside, think about it. You're a little boy. Your village was pillaged, and all the people in your village were raped. They burned it all down. You're left with nothing. You hate people, and your only friends are animals, and that is your story. Eventually, you're captured and forced to be a street performer because of your talent on the drums. And then eventually you escape, you somehow end up at the birth of Christ, and the 3 wise men give him generous gifts. You're the little drummer boy, and you give him a gift from the heart, which is a song from your own drum. And it becomes the greatest gift of all. It's the gift that makes Jesus smile. Like I said, I'm not talking about religion or whatever, trying to get too deep with that. But anyways, that's the story. And the claymation version of this movie is really good. They don't play it as much as Rudolph or anything like that, but it's a great movie. It's a great story. The claymation is great. There's no greater story than The Little Drummer Boy. I'm sorry. Number 3, The Sound of Noise, a movie about vigilantes who decide to commandeer areas to create rhythm. It's a really interesting concept. It's a foreign film, and yeah, it was hard for me to kind of really figure out what was going on because it had such a ridiculous plot. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that artistically it was an amazing film. There was a lot of great music sequences in it. The rhythms and the percussion was spot on. So yeah, number 3, Sound of Noise. Because the sound of noise is drumming, I guess. Wow. Number 2, That Thing You Do, directed by Tom Hanks. Oh my God, Tom Hanks, my hero. Oh, of course you can't have a top 10 without anything that Tom Hanks had anything to do with. And if Tom Hanks had anything to do with it, it's going to be in the top 3. So that's the reason why this movie gets the number 2 spot, even though the movie was just kind of okay. Primarily, the drummer is the main character, but the movie is about a one-hit wonder band. The drummer is the reason why that song became a number 1 hit. He decided to play the song up-tempo. He gave it like a surf beat instead of a ballad feel. And boom, the rest is history. Alright, number 1 is the Gene Krupa story. Of course, this is the number 1 drum movie that there is because it is the drum movie that started it all. Story of a young man who is wanting so much more out of his life. He just wants the drummer to be the star of the music. And it's in a time where the drummer is not the star of the music. It's like the 20s or the 30s or somewhere in that era, and he becomes one of the most well-known drummers of his generation. The great things about this movie, aside from how much I love the story of Gene Krupa and what he did for drummers everywhere in music, is that he actually played on the soundtrack. He taught Sal Mineo how to play the drums and how to emulate himself. Everything looks authentic. It also inspired Keith Moon to pick up the drums. Keith Moon of The Who. He saw this movie and was like, wow, I need to be a drummer. And so yeah, number 1, the Gene Krupa story. So now you know a little bit more about drummer movies. Awesome. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and also please check out my new single, Hips Like a Double Barrel Shotgun, out on iTunes and Spotify. The music video, which is the featured video on my YouTube account. I'll give you a little clip.
Use me, baby, just abuse me. There's no way that you ever could lose me. With hips like a double barrel shotgun. Hips like a double barrel shotgun. She's got hips like a double barrel shotgun, and it hurts me so. My mind is blown by hips like a double barrel shotgun. Hips like a double barrel shotgun. She's got hips like a double barrel shotgun, and she doesn't even know. My mind